What's up, all you beautiful creatures? I'm Carl Asami.
And I'm Max Cal.
And today we're going to be talking about Black Knight, a 2001 American comedy starring Martin Lawrence.
We're not talking about the movie.
Really? Black Knight is a character from the 1975 British comedy Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
That's still the wrong Black Knight.
Balls! Black Knight is a comic book character created by Stan Lee in 1955.
Did you even read the email I sent you the other day?
Well, I mean, of course I read it. It's just, there are so many words, you know, you can't expect me to remember every little detail.
There was one detail. What are we reviewing today? A pinball
table. Oh yeah. You know, I was wondering why we came to a pinball arcade place to review a movie.
Well, welcome to Pinball Pinheads. Although, we should probably rename this show Pinball Pinhead.
Hey!
Today, we're gonna cover
Black Knight.
I will slay you, my enemy.
Black Knight was released by Williams Entertainment in November of 1980. It was the seventh pinball table designed by the voice of Shao Kahn himself, Steve Ritchie.
Flawless victory.
Steve Ritchie originally worked for Atari, designing Airborne Avenger and Superman. He was lucky enough to leave the sinking ship that was Atari in 1978 and join Williams Entertainment's pinball division. You can learn more about him in our Firepower review.
Black Knight was programmed by fellow designer Larry DeMar. It was his second pinball credit, the first being Firepower. Pew pew pew! Larry DeMar is best known as the co-designer of Williams' 1981 arcade shooter, Defender. Larry was introduced to pinball at a young age, as his parents were friends with pinball tycoon Alvin Gottlieb. Larry was hired by Williams in 1980 after he sent them a letter that pointed out several programming bugs in one of their pinball tables called 8-Ball.
Oh, I forgot to carry the what.
He was initially assigned to finish last-minute work on Firepower. Pew pew pew! After its release, Firepower's lead programmer, Eugene Jarvis, moved on to video arcades.
Left without a partner, Ritchie personally requested to work with DeMar on his next design. The company was initially reluctant to have an untested programmer write a new pinball table's operating system, but their fears evaporated after testing his design on an older machine called Alien Poker. The design was so successful, Williams used the operating system for the next 20 years.
Black Knight's artwork was handled by Tony Ramuni, who was hired by Williams at about the same time as Steve Ritchie. His work is featured in 16 pinball tables and one video arcade, but appears to have stopped sometime in 1990. He's also done work for Bali and Mr. Game.
Black Knight's sound was programmed by John Kotlerick. It was the first pinball table he ever worked on. Kotlerick is noticeable for working on the infamous Thunderball pinball table, which was never mass-produced, and of which only 10 tables exist. He also did the sound programming for Williams' 1982 arcade classic, Joust.
Black Knight's notable for being the first solid-state pinball table to feature a two-level playing field. It's also the first table to include Williams' patented MagnaSave system, which allows players to activate a magnet that saves the ball from outlane drains. The cabinet artwork is medieval themed and is centered around the Black Knight himself.
Or herself, eh?
That's right, Max. We don't discriminate around here. If there are any little girls watching this and they want to become knights, I say go for it. I'm just gonna come out and say it. The artwork for this table is badass. The back glass is probably one of my favorite pieces of pinball artwork ever made. The Black Knight sits menacingly on their armored steed, accentuated by fiery sky and a setting sun. The artwork's encased by beautiful golden borders with angular eagles and swords with brilliant handles. The lettering looks like it was shaped with a pen and quill and sort of flows around the edges like the Black Knight's cape. I suck at calligraphy, so I think this kind of stuff is awesome. The artwork and color palette carries over to the playfield with equally impressive results. The large sword down the center keeps track of bonus points and point multipliers. It glows proudly when you're doing well. The Black Knight waits at the top of the playfield, beckoning you to bring your balls of steel. The black cabinet is adorned with golden swords and pieces of armor, with details painted in blood red. Even the stainless steel framework adds to the overall look, as it reminds me of real medieval steel. If you don't like the art direction of this table, you're wrong. You're wrong. Major props to Tony Ramuni for making this cabinet a true piece of art.
The sound design is fairly standard, but impressive for the time. Upon starting a game session, the player hears the Black Knight speak.
I challenge thee to fight me.
The voice of the Black Knight was performed by Steve Ritchie. Launching the ball prompts the sounds of the Black Knight galloping in the battle. Very cool. Other sound effects may sound familiar to you, as some of them were later reused in Defender and Robotron. It's kinda strange to hear sci-fi sound effects coming from a medieval-themed game. Perhaps the primitive sound hardware had a hard time imitating the sounds of sword clashing. The out-of-place sounds don't ruin the experience, but I still wondered what else could have been done. Black Knight features 4 flippers, 1 pop bumper, 12 drop targets, 2 kick-out holes, 1 spinner, and up to 3 ball multi-ball.
While Black Knight is far from the first game to feature multi-ball, the relative ease to achieve it makes Black Knight far more approachable than its predecessor, Firepower. Pew pew pew. Some hardcore pinballers think it's too easy, but terrible players like myself think it's awesome. Achieving multi-ball is all about locking balls in place in the top playfield. It's possible to do with little practice. If you lock 3 balls in place, multi-ball begins. Alternatively, one can begin multi-ball by shooting the multi-ball hole in the bottom playfield, but only if there's at least 1 ball locked in the top playfield. The table is covered in drop targets. They're everywhere, and taking them out is essential if you want the high score. Taking out a group within a short amount of time grants bonus points, and when combined with 3-ball multi-ball, you can really rack up the high score. The right and left flippers both have clear shots at the ramps that lead to the upper playfield, ensuring that the game never slows down. If you fall from the top playfield, it's fairly easy to recover, so the gameplay flows. Steve Ritchie wasn't called the King of Flow for nothing. The addition of the MagnaSave system is a clever way to give players a second chance, although I often forget it's there when I play the Wii version. If you haven't noticed, I absolutely love this table. I've never really considered owning a pinball table before doing these videos, and I'll tell you right now, if I had the space and money, I would get Black Knight.
When Black Knight galloped onto the scene, Firepower was considered king. By most accounts, Black Knight managed to dethrone Firepower as Williams' top pinball table. The 2-level playing field, striking art, and easy to achieve multi-ball just gives Black Knight an edge over Firepower. For our next episode, we're gonna go further back in time to take a look at the world's first talking pinball table, Gorgar. What is Gorgar? Why was it banned from some locations? And most importantly, does it have larger vocabulary than Black Knight? Well, there's only one way to find out. Tune in next time for more Pinball Pinheads.
Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. Twin Opinion cares about your opinion, and your participation keeps us alive. So share your comments, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel. You can also find Twin Opinion on Facebook or visit our website at asamiarrow.com.